When the final pulse of electricity snaps into silence and the world realizes that darkness isn't coming, it's staying, a new truth rises from the ruins of everything once assumed to be stable. Survival doesn't begin when disaster strikes. It begins the last moment anyone believes it won't. Sirens fade. Screens die. Engines stall. The constant hum of civilization, air conditioners, traffic, neon lights, refrigerators, distant chatter, all evaporates into a suffocating quiet that feels too unnatural to be real. And in that quiet, clarity falls like a hammer. The world didn't collapse. It simply stopped pretending it couldn't. Food rots. Water vanishes. Heat drains. Medicine becomes memory. Light becomes myth. Tools become treasure. And the mind becomes a battlefield where victory is optional, but defeat is permanent. 7 rules remain. 7 rules that don't negotiate, don't compromise, don't care. 7 rules that held civilizations upright long before electricity existed, and keep the remnants breathing long after it's gone. This is not a guide. This is not advice. This is the anatomy of survival stripped to its bones. Rule 1. Food. The slowest countdown. The first mistake is believing there's enough. Pantries appear full simply because the lights are still remembered. Shelves look stocked only because hunger hasn't arrived yet. Cans seem abundant until the math begins. 3 meals a day multiplied by desperation, multiplied by uncertainty, multiplied by the unforgiving arithmetic of survival. Fresh food dies quickly. Vegetables wilt. Fruit bruises. Milk curdles. Meat turns from nourishment into threat. Freezers delay the inevitable, but only until the temperature rises above forgiveness. Even the cold of winter cannot promise preservation. Thawing turns safety into sickness in hours. Only shelf-stable food respects survival. Canned meats endure the shift with discipline. Spam, tuna, chicken, sardines, protein sealed in metal armor. Beans become fuel. Rice transforms into a calorie reservoir. Oats become a silent companion to every long night. Dried lentils outlast uncertainty. But food is more than nutrition. It is leverage. It is bargaining power. It is stability in a world where uncertainty becomes the air. Every can is a time extension. Every bag is a promise. Every grain is another sunrise. Survival is measured by calories long before it is measured by courage. And starvation always moves faster than hope. Rule 2. Water. The resource that refuses to lie. The human body can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. When taps stop flowing and the illusion of infinite supply collapses, water becomes the first currency that truly matters. Stored water is life. Untreated water is a gamble. Contaminated water is a countdown. Rivers deceive. Streams distract. Clear water holds invisible threats. Bacteria. Parasites. Chemicals that cannot be detected by sight. Purification is not optional. Boiling becomes ritual. Filters become lifelines. Chemical tablets become miracles disguised as tablets of salvation. Rain becomes opportunity. Snow becomes potential, if melted correctly. Condensation becomes innovation. Every drop is measured, valued, protected. Hydration is not comfort. It is endurance. It keeps muscles moving, decisions sharp, and the mind from slipping into confusion that turns mistakes into tragedies. The rule of water is absolute. Once it's gone, nothing else matters. Survival collapses in hours, not days. And the world does not offer second chances to the thirsty. Rule 3. Heat. Fire as the last civilization. Cold is not loud. Cold does not warn. Cold takes. Without power, temperature becomes a predator. Winter exposes weaknesses. Wind steals warmth unseen. Rain chills bones deeper than air. Nightfall transforms comfort into risk. Fire becomes the oldest form of civilization, and often the last remaining. Fire cooks. Fire sterilizes. Fire dries wet clothes. Fire signals for help. Fire provides morale in a darkness that whispers the same question over and over. How long can this last? Matches are fragile. Lighters run empty. But ferro rods, magnesium shavings, charcloth, and prepared tinder turn ancient science into modern salvation. Heat requires caution. Too little brings hypothermia. Too much burns resources. Improper ventilation creates deadly air. Fire respects no one. Yet it rewards those who respect it. In survival, heat is not an option. Heat is the line between discomfort and death. Rule 4. Medicine. The thin edge between injury and irreversibility. In the old world, a cut was irritation. In the powerless world, it becomes a challenge that determines whether tomorrow arrives. Small wounds become infections. Infections become fevers. Fevers become collapse. Medical supplies shift from optional to essential. Antiseptics halt disasters. Bandages prevent contamination. Antibiotics compensate for the absence of doctors. Painkillers maintain movement when stillness is not an option. Tweezers remove splinters before they become sickness. Burn gel turns mistakes into recoveries. Every scrape becomes strategic. Every injury becomes calculation. Without pharmacies, hospitals, or emergency rooms, the inventory on hand becomes the entire healthcare system. Medicine becomes something it never was before. Finite. The rule stands clear and merciless. The best cure is not needing one. In survival, every risk avoided is a life preserved. Rule 5. Light. Vision as control over reality. Darkness isn't just absence. Darkness is distortion. Shadows deepen. Distance blurs. Edges vanish. Objects transform. Sounds multiply. Light does not merely illuminate. Light defines reality. Flashlights carve certainty into the void. Lanterns create islands of safety. Headlamps free hands for work. Solar panels turn sunlight into power, quietly resurrecting tools otherwise sentenced to silence. Glow sticks, humble yet dependable, become guides through rooms where hazards hide in plain blackness. Batteries become a new form of currency. Conserving them becomes discipline. Wasting them becomes regret. Light stabilizes the mind. It guards against panic. It preserves decision-making in hours when the world feels wrapped in blindness. The rule is simple. Without light, everything becomes threat. Rule 6. Tools. Simplicity that survives the collapse. Modern society worships complexity. Survival worships simplicity. A knife replaces entire drawers of forgotten kitchen gadgets. A rope replaces machinery. A multi-tool replaces the comfort of modern convenience. A manual can opener becomes more valuable than electronics worth hundreds. Duct tape becomes structural reinforcement. Fishing line becomes repair material. Tarps become shelter. Shovels become protection and construction. Tools don't just solve problems. They prevent them. In a world where systems collapse, tools are the only system left. The most powerful tools require no battery, no updates, no signal, no instructions beyond common sense. Tools extend human capability. Tools compensate for the removal of infrastructure. Tools turn wilderness into opportunity instead of threat. In survival, a tool is not metal. A tool is time. Rule 7. Mindset. The final dominion of survival. Food maintains the body. Water maintains the organs. Heat maintains the circulation. Medicine maintains function. Light maintains awareness. Tools maintain capability. But mindset maintains everything else. Fear sharpens initially, but corrodes eventually. Isolation tests sanity. Silence alters perception. Repetition drains morale. Uncertainty gnaws at judgment. The mind either pushes forward or shuts down. Calm becomes strategy. Routine becomes stability. Discipline becomes survival. The ability to observe without panicking, adapt without hesitation, and continue without surrender becomes the most valuable resource available. The mind is the battlefield where victory determines everything else. And the rule is unforgiving. The moment the mind breaks, survival ends, regardless of supplies. The closing narration, the unchanging laws of staying alive. 7 rules. Not written. Not invented. Not upgraded by technology. Not softened by comfort. These rules existed long before electricity and will exist long after it. Food extends time. Water sustains life. Heat protects the core. Medicine averts collapse. Light reveals danger. Tools replace systems. Mindset conquers fear. Break one rule and survival becomes difficult. Break 2 and survival becomes unlikely. Break 3 and survival becomes story instead of reality. When the grid dies, everything familiar disappears. But the fundamentals remain. They always have. They always will. The world doesn't care who deserves to survive. It only cares who understands the rules.